All right, everybody. How's it going? My name is Matt Schmidt, and I have a special guest, Richard, on the line here. He's going to be covering some important things that he's learned from Merch by Amazon. So if you're coming here, you probably have some interest. If you have no idea what Merch by Amazon is, it's basically Amazon's version of Teespring in the very, very, very simplest of explanation for it. But basically, what you get to do is load up a design and put it onto Amazon, and Amazon's going to help you print it. Not only get you traffic for it through their algorithm and things like that, but they're actually going to print it and ship it to the customers as well. So this has worked out very well for us. We do okay with it, not as good as Richard, but it's worked out pretty well for a lot of people. And it's still really, I would say, untapped because it's Amazon, and Amazon just gets just an ungodly amount of traffic. And the great thing is it's all buyer traffic, right? You go to Amazon with a purpose. In this instance, you probably have gone to Amazon. If you're one of our customers, you went there to search for a shirt for a specific type of niche or some kind of like funny design or something like that. And that's really where the power lies in Amazon. You don't have to pay for paid traffic or things like that. You can, it's available to you. But with Amazon, I don't think Richard does. With Amazon's algorithm, you can get tons and tons of buyer traffic to you by doing some simple steps. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I just wanted to get Richard on the line. He had just posted in one of the Merch by Amazon groups saying, he's had a lot of success. And the funny thing is I guess you heard on a webinar I did over a year ago, right? That just, I think I mentioned mentioned it in passing. And I think you even, dragged on it a little bit, didn't get after it, but now you're killing it. So if you would just give us a little bit of an intro and let people know who you are and maybe your background with the whole Merch by Amazon thing, and then we'll start jamming a little bit.
Let me give you the elevator spiel on me. I live in Northern California. I'm a single dad, and I've been making money on the internet for 20 years. Because of being a single dad, I've always wanted to work at home. And so, I think probably most of us who make money on the internet, it's a little here and a little there. When eBay was working, I did eBay. When AdSense was working, I did AdSense. One of the things that I picked up along the way in my toolkit was doing T-shirts. I actually started on Cafe Press about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And when I first started doing Cafe Press T-shirts, the way it was set up, a designer could make some pretty good bank. They screwed us over shortly, as many do, and so Cafe Press kind of went into the background. But making T-shirts has always been in my toolkit. I was doing spring T-shirts a couple of years ago. Stumbled into that and found out it worked very well. As anybody who got into Teespring early, you could design a T-shirt. The basic model was you design the T-shirt, you set up a little storefront for that T-shirt, you pitch it on Facebook, you sell a whole bunch of shirts, and you make some money.
Right.
And that worked really well for a year or so. And it still works if you're good at finding the traffic and sending the traffic to the shirt. I've never been especially good at the traffic. I could make it work, especially when times were good, but it's a lot tougher now than it was then. Still doable. I know people are still making money doing it. But similar to Teespring was Gear Bubble, and that's where I in fact, I know that's what your little seminar was on, Rachel's low-hanging fruit, and you mentioned also in conjunction with that the merch. And so I got into that about a year ago. I sent in my application to join. It took them 3 months.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 years. Yeah.
It felt like 3 years. It was just
Right.
something, I signed up. It took 3 months to get in. I did a few shirts. There was the whole, they were really overwhelmed by the amount of shirts they were selling. And so they stopped accepting applications and they
Right.
stopped tiering people up to higher levels. So I was at 10 or 25 shirts. I don't really recall. I didn't have many shirts. I didn't do much. Made a little money for Christmas. So at the beginning of this year, when things loosened up and they started allowing us to submit more shirts, I started giving it more attention and tiered up to 100.
Nice.
Did 100 shirts. I had a backlog of designs from my Cafe Press days or Zazzle, which, frankly, if I look back on the T-shirts I did 10 years ago, they were horrendous. I mean, they weren't very good. And the amazing thing is, they've continued to generate $200 or $300 a month on Cafe Press for the past 10 years.
Wow.
Really bad shirts that still to this day make me $200 or $300 a month, and I haven't touched them for 10 years.
That's great. Pay some bills.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's just something that always pops into the bank account about the 7th or 8th. I go, got a little Cafe Press money.
Nice.
I started, concentrating on the merch, thinking, this is like, you mentioned that merch was Amazon's version of Teespring. It's actually much more Amazon's version of Cafe Press or Zazzle. And it's an entirely different mindset than Teespring. With Teespring, we're designing shirts and we're going out and we're finding people. With merch, we're designing shirts and they're coming to us because of all that massive traffic that Teespring has.
Sure.
So I got tiered up to 100, did my 100 shirts, got tiered up to 500, and then now I have my 500 shirts running, and now it's really turning into some really serious money.
That's great. Yeah. You're absolutely correct. It is quite different than Teespring. It was just what came to mind when I tried to explain it for anybody that was there. But that is much more of an accurate description. So great. So what I would like to do, if you're game, is kind of just go through, and for anybody that's listening to this, just kind of give them some actionable steps and some best practices that a guy that's making, I think it was $2,200 in the past 7 days, basically doing and nothing but uploading shirts. Let's start at the very basics, and then we'll kind of expand out from there. Is that cool?
Sure.
Yeah. So, as far as your designs, like, how are you getting, or like, where are you finding, and then how are you getting designs?
Well, I don't consider myself to be a very good designer. Certainly not artistic. I would not call myself an artist. I'm a craftsman at best, because I'm in awe of art. But I have found, even back in the Cafe Press days, and certainly in the Teespring days, and now with merch, that artistic designs don't necessarily sell, because you've got these people, you've got people on the internet that'll give you maybe seconds of attention, and you better have something very simple and plain and easy to understand, or they're gone. It's a little bit different in merch because people are actively shopping, but it's still, I think, the same dynamic. You got to catch them. They're there, and you better catch their eye quickly with something very simple and easy to digest. And
so am I reading between the lines then? Am I reading between the lines then and thinking that you're doing text-based designs then?
Mostly text-based, yeah.
Okay.
It's important that you get good with the text and know how to lay it out and know how to use your white space and how to fill the gaps in the picture, But, yeah, I mean, art, I just don't see it working. So I use mostly text-based with simple graphics. And for me, I'm really happiest when it's an idea that's never been on a tee before. I'm attacking the same niches as everybody. We're all trying to sell electrician shirts. We're all trying to sell grandpa shirts.
Sure.
But I don't really look to see what's been working for somebody else and then adapt it. I really go and try to find something funny, humorous, witty, that's not been done on a T-shirt, and then do it on a T-shirt. That's the way I shoot for. I try to have everything to be new, and generally it makes it easier to spot the copycats, which are just part of the game. But
Right.
at least I know where they got their idea, and I can tap myself on the back and say, "Yay for me!"
Right.
And I'm just not another guy churning out the same old designs.
Sure. So, are you finding inspiration from just like Googling around, or I usually point people to Pinterest or Etsy or something like that, or I mean, are you just super creative and pops into your head?
I think for layout designs and just things that look visually appealing, I get my ideas from Pinterest. I really don't have the ability in my brain to bring up a picture of what this should look like, and so I have to go look and see how somebody else did it, and then I can plug in my words. And as far as the inspiration of fun books, and you can go to the used bookstore and you can buy, this one in my hand is The Mammoth Book of Zingers, Quips, and One-Liners.
Oh, wow.
If anybody wants to go find
That's
it.
an old school.
Came out in
That's the old school method.
Yeah, and it came out in 2005.
Wow.
And I think I paid $3 for it, and it's 600 pages of one-liners. So, and I've got a bunch of books like that, or old clip art books, or and they're basically just thought starters. So then if I'm looking to go after a market, today I'm working on Halloween shirts, and I guess it comes with practice. Once you've taken a phrase that's funny and you've wiggled around with it, you can make it fit for a lot of different niches.
Yeah, sure.
Today I'm working on Halloween shirts, and I'm basically working with a phrase that I had used for St. Patrick's Day shirts.
Wow. So just to put that in perspective for people listening, the day we were recording this video is June 21st. And so you've gotten this down to pretty much a process to where you're already working on Halloween shirts, which is great because you're going to get it. And that's the strategy too, right? You're going to feed these shirts into Amazon. You might get a couple of people for whatever reason. The weird thing is I have like Halloween shirts up from last year because I've been in merch for a while. And we'll still get like the occasional sale right now. So there's always those people out there that will buy a shirt in off season. So you're going to get in there, you're going to get some traction, and then eventually hopefully be ranked and things like that, and then prime for Amazon to shoot you up and get you the real traffic and the buyers later on. So that's pretty cool.
That's the hope.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the hopes. I did last Halloween. I was still mostly concentrating on Teespring.
Mm-hmm.
So, as those who deal with Teespring, part of that process is building out Facebook pages. So I have a really nice Halloween page. So this year I'm going to pitch Amazon shirts to that page, and they will be my Amazon shirts, and we'll hopefully make some money off them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so that covers the designs and everything like that. Now, the important thing that if you are coming from, say, the Teespring world or I was on Shopify for the majority of it. I was on Teespring before that. I still had a Teespring business at that point. I was bringing over a lot of designs that did well over there. And turns out, like you were saying, they weren't actually like the best seller because it's different. It's a different buyer mentality. It's a different search engine. It's a different algorithm. Everything you're playing with there. So if you could talk a little bit about maybe just like a high level strategy of making sure that your shirts, because the text is going to get you, the design is going to get you there, but you have to still get ranked and everything like that. So making sure that you come up in the feeds and things like that when people search. Is there a method that you've covered or you've developed that would help people at a top level getting going with this?
Well, it's really hard to tell with merch since we don't have any back end to see where the traffic's coming from and what keywords are delivering the traffic. I've got some add-ons that claim they'll do that, but with a shirt that's selling one a week, it certainly can't tell you what keywords brought people there.
Right.
So I do concentrate on getting keywords in there. You've got the brand name, which I use a keyword for the T-shirt and not a brand name. So, say for example, these Halloween shirts I'm working, it'll be Halloween T-shirt or
that's smart. Yeah.
Halloween T-shirt or whatever I'm doing, and then a good title for the shirt with the keywords in there. I always like to include things like gift or holiday gift or pack some T-shirts, some keywords in there, and then we've got 2 bullet points, which used to allow for some pretty wordy bullet points, but they've trimmed that back recently. I'm not sure what it is, 256 characters or something like that. But it's enough that you can give a description of the design, get the keywords in there. Make sure you include, for example, if you're doing a horseback riding T-shirts, you want to include the synonyms like equestrians and whatever the synonyms are for horses.
Right. Yeah, no, I got you.
I look them up in my other book that I keep handy, my Roget's Thesaurus. So I don't keyword stuff. I don't think Amazon particularly appreciates that. I don't know of anybody getting booted off the system for keyword stuffing, but I don't do it because it just, it looks cheesy. I don't think Amazon appreciates it, so I don't do it.
Yeah, I think they're smarter than that. I don't recommend anybody listening to this to keyword stuff. I think they're pretty smart over there at Amazon. So cool. So yeah, that's great. I think that helps a lot of people just getting an understanding. I mean, you are dealing with buyers, right? When it's buyer traffic. So the gift idea, I think, is genius of putting that in the title or something like that. I think that's very smart. And I'm on Amazon.
And
I'm on Amazon
the bullet
like every
points
day.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the bullet points, if you're doing a sports design, it seems to be good to put baseball fan gift. Seems to be something they would look.
So really, it's the purpose.
I just have to kind of imagine what are they searching for.
Yeah, like purpose. That's smart. Yeah, if you want to, you can call it like the purpose of why are they there? I think is
there is there's the trick that I don't even know what it's called. You start typing it into the search bar and see what terms pop up.
Yeah. In Amazon. So if you put in like electrician, it'll say
see what
the next search.
Does it say electrician gift or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the most searched terms in Amazon. Yeah, that's still a great way of doing it. We do that as well. Cool. So
I think since it's shoppers coming to the shirts, you can do you can target a much larger niche than you could on, say, a Teespring. You can go right for nurses and not night shift nurses, but there are a lot of shirts, so I don't know. That's something I really don't know. Once there's 5,000 different competing nurse shirts on Amazon, how will we be found? I don't know. I think good designs win out, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, the funny saying or the design, and that's true for any platform. I compete against God knows how many people with my Shopify store, but the difference maker has to be either your design, your text, or whatever it is. Definitely the way you handle and understand the algorithm will certainly help. But the tried and true, you always have to stand out. That's applicable for any business, really. I mean, how many plumbers are there? And I'm from St. Louis. How many plumbers are there in St. Louis? Well, the guy that gets the most, the guy that gets the most business is the guy that's going to be out in front of most people, driving enough traffic, and hitting all the right notes the customer's looking for. So for sure. So, and then you said you scaled up. So now we got a shirt up. We found our design. We got a shirt up. We're doing everything we need to do. I have driven some traffic for my traffic guys listening to this. I have driven some click to website traffic to an Amazon listing before, and it's really hard sometimes because you can't track anything, right? So you don't you don't really know, is it Amazon giving me organic sales, or is it a Facebook traffic converting? The things I have noticed is people trust Amazon way more than they will ever trust your site. So you will, I think, the times that I have done it, the times that it's applicable, I have seen some spikes in sales. The simplest way of testing is turning the ad off or on, and you'll see if the Amazon sales drop for that. So that's click to website. You don't have to optimize it. It's just on link clicks. People buy a lot because they trust it in Amazon. Obviously, your design has to be killer too, and that will get you up the rankings as well. It's a little trickier, right? Because we're talking about non-really impulse shirts versus like some of them can be impulse, but the buyer mentality is different. I have had very, very complex designs on my Shopify store or Teespring do really, really well, but we're selling it out of impulse on something like Teespring on Facebook. And so that's the different mentality of what we're talking about today. So these simple things may be a little harder to do, but it's worth testing at least to see. I mean, you're posting it in your groups, so that's probably going to get you some traction there. And then, that also helps you boost the Amazon rankings as well. So I've driven traffic, like you say, it's hard to track, so you don't know. But I get sales of shirts, and it's like, why did I get that? Because of something I did? What did I do? Right. Well, the mentality
I don't even remember what I did.
Right. The mentality here for people to understand is it's a little different, because your goal, if I'm understanding correctly, was to tier up and then say get 500 shirts listed and loaded. So if you have 500 shirts and each one of them only sells maybe one per month, that's 500 sales passively with no ad costs. What's your margin per shirt?
My margin is a little over $7. So that would be, if you could get one a month, that'd be $3,500.
Right. And you're getting more. You're getting more than that, right?
I'm getting more than that, but the vast majority of my sales come from shirts that sell one a week, two a week. They don't sell gangbusters. During, last week, the period ending last week, leading up to Father's Day, I had a couple of Father's Day shirts that did, 60 or 70 in a 2-week period, but they're outliers. Most of my shirts are selling 2 or 3, in a week.
Yeah.
And that's the way I like it. I would much rather have a bunch of shirts selling one a week than one shirt selling 100 a week, because that one shirt that's selling 100 a week is going to pop up on everybody's let's copy this list.
Right.
And it'll be gone. I can't hold on to that. There's no way you can police the internet.
Right.
It's bad enough you've got people that copy on Amazon, but there's people that copy the Amazons and then run them on their Shopify stores. And so if you've got something that's wildly successful, you just better kiss it goodbye, because it's impossible to hold on to it.
Yeah, no, I battle that I have a couple of 10,000 unit plus sellers on my Shopify store, and I just yesterday I sent a photo over to my supplier saying, "Hey, look at this." Somebody's trying to copy me. So it happens all the time across anything. We get that a lot on mugs and things like that too, that we list on Amazon.
Sure.
People hijacking our stuff and things like that. But that's cool. What you were talking about with the brand, switching that up all the time would make it really hard for people to hijack you too, or hijack your brand or things like that, because it's always going to be constantly changing, which is really smart too.
Yeah. So, when I first started with the merch, I was using what I've always used as a brand in the brand, and it was just too easy to find all my stuff, you know. So
Right.
and I don't think nobody was buying because of my brand, so
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
use it.
Sure. So now you're talking about you're a one-man operation, right?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
yes,
So
I think of I design my own stuff. Sometimes if I need an element hand drawn, if I need a Bigfoot riding a bicycle, which I can't draw myself, I'll get somebody on Fiverr to draw it. And other than that, it's just me.
cool. Well, that's awesome because that's all that profit coming home to you. So, which is really cool.
Sure.
So, yeah, but I mean, if people are listening to this, you can. It's easy to get people, especially if you're doing like text-based designs, to do this at scale. I have a team that does this, yeah, and they're killer at it. Just because I couldn't even probably design a text-based design very well, so it's just not my thing, and I got other things to handle. So it's great that you're able to do this on one person, and that's the real power of it, right? I mean, you did $2,200 in the last 7 days. That's $8,000, $9,000 per month potentially if this keeps up. If you keep scaling this up, and even
Absolutely.
more,
I mean,
and it's a one-man operation. That is a replacement. A $2,200 is a replacement for a lot of people's income that they're working, flipping burgers or something like that. So that's really amazing.
oh,
Man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm in a situation where my kids are grown. I don't need a lot of money. I can do this work on my hours. The work gets done. But then if I just want to take off a day and go to the lake and paddle my kayak around, I can. And then I can come home. I can come home with my sunburn and look and see that I made $300, and it's a really nice day. I like that.
That's cool. That's the dream, man, for sure. All right, man. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I really appreciate you coming out. I think there's a lot of gold in here for people to either scale up. I know we are going to take some things back and implement it into our business, but also to get started or things like that. And there's plenty of people that are constantly joining Merch by Amazon because of its ease. And either coming over from Teespring World or they're just getting started. I think the Merch by Amazon group's up to like 40,000 people now. So I mean, there's a lot of people
Well,
in this game.
I think anybody that has the capabilities of designing a T-shirt, and it's not that difficult, should sign up and join. And it's pretty slow at the beginning because you start with 10, and you got to sell those 10 to be allowed to do 25, and then be allowed to do 100. But if you just stick with it and make those sales, then pretty soon when you cheer up to 500, where I am, or even higher where guys are, I mean, it's just a license to print money at this point. So.
Yep, absolutely. I think we're up to I think we have 235 listed right now. And if I'm not mistaken, we did I think we're doing like 1,500 a week. I'll have to double check with the team, but yeah, it's great because the what we've done is kind of aimed to have Merch by Amazon pay for, or at least get close to paying for my team that works on my Shopify store. So we have, because that's where the focus is being for us has been the Shopify stuff. So we take the designs, manipulate it as needed, or create new designs, list it on Merch, and then it's the same staff and everything like that, and that's helped cover the cost or that. So it's really, and the thing of it is for me, the designs were already made, already paid for, and that's what I was stressing probably with the low-hanging system promotion, because a lot of my guys listening to this was going to be Teespring guys, because that's where I got started. So taking old designs that you've already paid for and then just putting them on Merch, that's what we've done, and we've generated thousands and thousands of dollars for that. That's just money that's been just hanging out there waiting for you to jump into this.
I've got mugs that I sell on Amazon with the low-hanging system plan. And so if the great thing is once you're producing products using designs, it doesn't matter whether it's a mug or a T-shirt. So if you've got something that's working on a mug, it's really easy to transfer that design, maybe tweak it a little bit here, change the dimensions or something, and put it on a T-shirt. And then if it works on that T-shirt, say it's white design on black, if it works, well, then tweak it around again, make it a black design for light T-shirt. So once you have the designs in your hand, you can put them on anything. Right now, anything that's paying best for me is Merch.
Right. There you go. Very cool, Richard. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming out. I know it's middle of the day, so maybe you can go out and get on that lake and go kayaking. So I
Not today. Not today. We're 111 today.
Oh
I'm
my
staying
goodness.
inside.
Oh no. All right, well stay inside, get cool. I am actually wondering now how hot it is here because I got a round of golf to go to here shortly. So great talking
Well,
to you, man. I hope to see you
our
around the
100.
grooves.
Okay. You betcha, Matt. Glad I could help out.
Yeah, take care. See ya.